Hey everyone, Melissa here from Sincerely Creative Mom, or Coach Mel. A lot of you know me as Coach Mel. Today we're going to make a pancake wreath, which is going to be round, still going to be nice and round, nice and wide, about 23, 24 inches wide, so a nice big statement on your door, but still very flat to fit in between your door. We are going to add a bow, so that will add some depth, but without the bow, the wreath itself will be about 2.5 to 3 inches deep. So normally I have found that your between the doors are around 4 inches or less, so I like to stay there. We have a 14-inch frame. These are going to be the ribbons for our bow. Super cute that match our sign. I'm going to set those aside. We're working with deco mesh today. I've cut most of them, but we're going to cut 2 together. This is going to be our ribbon tails that go around the wreath. They are both 2.5 inches wide, and I've already cut them 14 inches long. So, oh, that's my alarm, sorry. 14 inches long. Okay, so I've already cut those, so it'll make time go a little bit faster. Our super cute sign, lots of things you could have pulled from here. The buffalo plaid, the stripes, the leopard, the red glitter, the polka dots, the pink, lots of colors. So we just did our best to pull everything that kind of went with it, everything that I had on hand. This is jute poly mesh, okay? Jute poly mesh. It is something I used to use almost all the time because I feel like it allows our ribbons to be truly the star of the show. So this becomes like a background. The mesh does anyways, and it really allows your ribbons to just be showcased. So I went with the natural, and we're going to always, with the pancake style, we're going to always go 20 inches long. So I have my rotary cutter and my self-healing mat that I'm cutting on, and I'm just going 20 inches long. And I have a little bit left. I've already cut the rest of what we need. So we needed 12 pieces at 20 inches long. 12 pieces. So we have a little bit left. So we're going to start with our 14-inch frame, and we're going to add some pipe cleaners. So we're going to add 12 pipe cleaners right in very specific spots. So we have ring number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we have bracket number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we're going to take our pipe cleaners right here around ring 1 and 2, right where that crossbar is. Crisscross, twist, twist. We're going to do that all the way around. Crisscross. Now I'm bringing this hand, I'm bringing that kind of touches the ring number 2, and this finger kind of touches ring number 1, and I'm going to cross them. And the reason for that is I want that to be real low to the frame itself. So I don't want to be able to put my finger through there. Okay. Then in between those crossbars on the outside, so the first 6 was on ring 1 and 2, the next 6 are going to be on ring 3 and 4. And I'm just going to go right in between, just going to eyeball it, make sure it's about center. Okay, so now that those are attached, we're going to start on the outside of this wreath, on the outside of the design, and we're going to work our way to the inside. So I'm going to start with my 10-inch wide mesh. We cut it 20 inches long. I'm going to put it so that the curl is going under, right? So the curl is going under. And then I'm going to roll that mesh, scrunch it up, ruffle it up right up the center. I'm going to try to keep my fingers ruffling right in the center as much as possible, all the way to the end. Have it nice and tight. And I'm going to come right out here on the outside. Now the mesh is a woven material, so you want to be gentle with it. Okay, so I'm going to push that down so it's down all the way against that pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to crisscross nice and tight, push it and pull it, twist, twist. Once it's in there, it's nice and tight. You have a nice big ruffle here. I'm going to take these two ends, gentle, and I'm going to overlap them. Kind of tuck them in between, underneath that front, that top pipe cleaner, and then I'm going to take all these pieces and kind of turn them inside out. I'm going to ruffle them underneath so that it stays round but real flat like a pancake. We're going to do that all the way around on the outside. We're going to work on the outside first. So scrunch all the way up as much as you can, keeping that center nice and small, teeny tiny. Lift it up and over. Turn them all inside out and go on to the next one. Now you want these to be sticking up so that when you come in to do the top layer, they're up and ready for you. Makes it a little easier. Now, a lot of questions, how do I get the mesh to stop fraying? Listen, it's gonna fray. It doesn't matter how much you spend on it, what quality it is, even the good stuff, which this is pretty good, it's gonna fray. Your job is to conceal it, hide it, and make it so that you can't, you don't notice it. It becomes not there, just because you're doing a really good job of putting things on top of it and hiding it, concealing it. So just because it looks like my mesh doesn't fray, it does. I'm just gentle. So I like to stick to a wreath recipe. This one happens to be my favorite and it sells the most for me. I host classes here in Michigan, and I needed something that would make my Michigan people happy because most of them have screen doors. And so I came up with this round and flat style. And while I was teaching on a live one day, I called it like a pancake, and that kind of stuck. Overlap. Overlap. Flip them all inside out. Now, our outer layer with mesh is complete. So because we do this overlap, flip everything under kind of thing, we're not going to put the top mesh on yet. We're going to work on the ribbon for the outside so that it's done and out of the way and we don't have to worry about messing it up and all that good stuff. So for the sign, I brought a little bit of black in, and of course that buffalo plaid. I put my glitter red and pink hearts on the top. I'm just going to fold it. Remember, these are 14 inches long. And scrunch up the center as little as I can. Bend it so that it's all facing towards me. I'm going to put it right in there, nice and tight, all the way down to the bottom, crisscross. Twist, 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 twist. So I do this about, I don't know, 7 or 8 times. Cut off the excess. And then I'm going to take what's left here. You see there's about, I don't know, maybe an inch or so left. Let's get you in a little bit more. I'm going to hide that underneath the left side of that ribbon. A mesh. No ribbon. Sorry. And then an important thing that I always do, I pull these up and then pull them apart. I pull them up and then pull them apart. That way you're breaking that, you know, kind of accordion that kind of started going on there when you did the ruffle. And you're letting them, you know, come apart from each other. So squish it, squish it, squish it so that it's really super tiny, that center, and then bend it out so it's all facing towards you. You want every single one of those ends to be facing on the outside of the wreath. So nothing going inside, just because the way we're going to do this particular design, you won't see anything on the inside. So if you move these ribbons to the inside, you won't see it in this particular design. You paid for all that ribbon, you want to see it all, right? Pull it up, pull it apart. Up, pull it apart. Now I pull right there at that center so that it really allows it to, you know, make that separation there. And then I always make sure that I'm doing a pattern always. So you'll see plaid hearts, plaid hearts, plaid hearts, plaid hearts, all the way around. It's just pleasing to your eye. I know some people are like, well, what if you do it opposite on the top? If you do it opposite on the top, then the ribbons will kind of be overlapping and it'll look weird on your eye, to the eye. It'll just, it's not as easy to look at. So do the same thing on the outside. Pull it apart, pull it up, pull it apart. Make them do what you want them to do. You're the boss. I do offer classes, in-person classes. I offer online classes. I'm part of a creative coaching group with a few other coaches where I'm live every Thursday in the group doing all sorts of much bigger and more in-depth training. We do garlands, Christmas trees, wreaths, swags, centerpieces. We do all of it. It's so much fun. You can find out more information by going to creativecoachmel.com. All the links for the materials that I have here will be in the description of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching anywhere else, you can find the description on my YouTube video. So again, so far we have 20 inches on the ruffles, 14 inches on the ribbon. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing on the inside. So I'm going to come in with my mesh. Let's open this up here a little bit. I'm going to come in with our mesh and do the exact same thing. We're going to go on the top, then we'll make a bow, add the sign, and we'll be all done. So now watch what happens. I had that really small piece. Now watch. It just fills out very nicely. Come in here right on top. In this natural brown color. Again, no matter what style, I did this for a long time. Didn't matter what style I was doing, what colors, ribbon. It didn't matter at all. I really liked using this natural color because it really lets that ribbon just shine. Sometimes we're using pretty expensive ribbon, so it's nice to do that too. See, nice big fill here. Now our job as a wreath maker is to cover that wire frame, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can see straight through. Once this piece is on and the ribbons, you start to not be able to see that frame almost at all. And then this piece going on top, you see on the outside here, those pieces kind of barely touch. On the inside, those twists are a little bit closer, so this piece is going to completely overlap this piece. Remember, I'm going in real gentle, keeping those ends. We're going to be as nice to them as possible so they don't fray too bad. And then once this piece is on, and then of course we still have to add the ribbon, but this piece overlaps this piece, and you cannot see that wire frame at all. So goal has been met before I even put on that top layer of ribbon, which is what we want. Again, you're watching Melissa. A lot of people know me as Coach Mel or Melly Mel. The name of my business is Sincerely Creative Mom. I do have a text alert system where when I'm going live on Facebook or YouTube, or when there's a new video available, a new class available, I send out a text message to let y'all know. Also comes with that a generous, about once a week or so, I choose a name from that text list to send something. This lately has been a box of ribbon, not a new box of ribbon, not used, just leftovers from what I haven't used from kits and random things. It's meant for folks to practice their bow making. So all you have to do is text me. It's 810-498-2310. And then follow the prompts, and then when I'm live, I'll send you messages. Two more to go. So from there, now we're just going to add that ribbon just like we did on the top, on the bottom. And then you'll really start to see them have a nice layered look. Always bend it, make sure my ribbons are facing towards the outside edge. Pull it apart, pull it aside. Now I always put my favorite ribbons on the top so that you can see them the most. Sometimes that ribbon that's on the bottom kind of gets hidden a little bit. I've taken my wreath making business and turned it into, from selling online and Facebook and friends and family, to Etsy. I sell also in a boutique. I host classes. I host online classes. I've taken my small little business and turned it into a real business. It's always been a real business, but you know what I mean. It has been a gradual but steady climb, journey, whatever you want to call it. Whether you're watching to make this for your own front door, or you're a beginner wreath maker, or you're a wreath maker for a few years, or whatever the case may be. Don't give up. You gotta just keep going. One thing pushes you down, you gotta get back up and try the next thing. Try that same thing over and over again. I hope that you are enjoying these videos, and if you haven't already, please make sure to follow us if you're on Facebook, or subscribe to us if you're watching on YouTube. Now we're going to be left with the center that is all mesh. And our sign is big enough to cover it all so that it doesn't look funny. So if you're doing this style, leaving the mesh or leaving parts of the mesh, you know, very visible, makes it look unfinished. It makes it look like there was something supposed to be there and it isn't. So if you're doing your design just like this, make sure that you are doing your best to complete the design. So this is a 12-inch sign that we're going to be using. So here's what it looks like without the sign on it. So you can see parts of that mesh sticking out, but you're really just able to see those ribbons. So this is going to go right in that center. Look at how perfect. Now this added without a bow, and you know what? Maybe we won't even do a bow. I feel like we have to now because we kind of said that we were. But honestly, I don't even know if I would do a bow. So I'm just going to take these, so our job is to cover that whole inside of mesh as much as we can and hide those pipe cleaners. We don't want to see those. Again, you can find the links to where these supplies came from in the description on the YouTube video. Alright, so before I add a bow to this, I'm just gonna, and yes, this is how I measure, just because how I measure. Before we add a bow to this, we are sitting at exactly just under 3 inches. Like just under 3 inches. Let's see, this is definitely how I measure. So we're at like 2 3/4. Okay, 2 3/4. If you need a wreath for yourself or for a customer that has to be super flat, this is the way you want to go. Now, you see how cute it looks without a bow? It totally does. It would be just fine without it, but I feel like because we said it at the beginning, then we got to add one. So we're going to make it so that you can see how I'd make the bow. And then whether we add it or not, we can decide that later. Okay, let's zoom in here. I'm going to start with a 2.5 inch. I'm going to go about 8 or 9 inches and make about a 6.5 inch loop. Okay, and then pinch. I always twist. Now, and then loop. I have carpal tunnel pretty bad, so I use my Easy Bow Maker as a holder. I use it just as a holder. Not that I can't make bows in my hand. However, I can't make bows in my hand because I can't hold it long enough. My hand starts to scream at me. I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to do a tail, a loop, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist, tail, and then I figured we'd come in with this really cool black leopard. A tiny bit of that. Pinch, pull it apart, twist, loop, pinch, twist. I've used this roll on so many things. And then we're going to have this one on the top. Yeah, why not? So I'm going to do a little loop on the top, just because that's how I do it. Kind of how it hides that pipe cleaner. So pinch, twist, pinch, twist, loop, pinch, and twist. These scissors are the sharpest scissors I've ever owned in my life. I'm going to be careful with those. Okay, so before I lift this up, I'm going to push down a little bit and then lift. Make sure it's in my hand nice and tight. Push down. I'm going to take this pipe cleaner and just a little bit so that I have one long stem, just like I did for the sign, because then it's easier to sift through all those layers of overlapped mesh, right? Okay, then before I put it in there, I really like to, so this is exactly what I did for the dovetails on the end. So I took my ribbon, folded it on the fold. Put your scissors on the fold, okay? And cut right up towards the edge. Right up towards the edge. And it makes a nice little V shape end. So it makes it look nice and finished. Remember we talked about having a finished look. I'm going to do that to the whole thing. And then once we get it in there, if I decide there's some that I need to cut shorter, I can cut shorter, but then I don't have to worry about missing one of these. That's why I do it ahead of time. All right. So we're going to put this up a little bit and this just off to the side, just like this. So I'm going to put it right down. Put it right down in there. I'm going to sink that pipe cleaner right down in here. Actually, I think I'm going to sink it down right in here. Put it all the way through all those layers. And then I'm going to wrap that wire frame, or wrap that pipe cleaner around the wire frame. And when I'm all done, I'll turn them both over to show you, so you can see what I'm doing back here. But I'm just taking that pipe cleaner and pulling it through. And move this up just a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to take these pipe cleaners right through here. Find that wire frame. This is probably the hardest part, getting that pipe cleaner through all those layers. And then we'll fluff out our bow. Thank you very, very much for joining and watching. I hope that I was able to teach you something you didn't know, or give you a tip. If you're making this for your own front door, I would love to see making this for yourself or for your business. I would still love to see if you're recreating this. You can always text me a picture. Now this is the boring part because you can't see. I'll flip it over in just a minute to show you. Before I fluff out our bow. Okay, so here we are. I came in with the sign, right, probably right here, and then I just zigzagged back and forth, right, until I didn't have any left. Same over here. I just zigzag back and forth, and then I'll just wind it all the way around so that it stays, and then that was probably the bow. Okay? Whichever it was. All right, so now I'm going to just take these and go opposite. So if I went up with the tail, the next layer I'm going to go up with the loop, right? If I went down with the tail, I'm going to go up with the tail. And then we can always cut these, so we leave them long at the beginning, and then we can definitely cut them. Now it covers the whole sign. We obviously don't want that. So we're going to cut this a little bit. Cut this a little. it, cut on the fold up towards the edge. And this is going to be better if I switch it this way. Fold it, cut on the fold up towards the edge. No, that's a little bit too long over here as well. There we go. There we go. So I always try to cover that sign just a little tiny bit to make it feel like it's part of the wreath, not just kind of floating on the top. Super, super cute. So we have a 14-inch frame. We have 12 twist ties. We have 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. Our mesh is 10 inches and we cut it 20 inches long. So all the pieces are 20 inches long. We have our ribbon, which is, they're 2.5 inches wide on the ribbon, and we cut them 14 inches long. And then we added a sign, we added a bow. Pull all those out so you can see every single one of those ends. Super, super cute. Y'all, thanks for joining. If you haven't already joined my text message list, I would love for you to do that. Again, it's 810-498-2310. I am try to be respectful and not text you too many times. Maybe once a day. Sometimes it could be several days before I text you, but when I go live, if it's within a good time, because I'm not allowed to text you after a certain time, but I do send out a message and let you know where I'm going to be. This is adorable. Remember, this was under 3 inches, and with the bow, we did add some height here. Let's just see. We did add some height here with the bow. We're sitting at about 5.5 inches with the bow added. So perfect for if you have a customer who, you know, doesn't want to put it on the outside of their door, you know, without the bow. It's still just adorable. Again, you're watching and following Melissa, or Melly Mel, or Coach Mel from Sincerely Creative Mom. I hope that you are subscribed or following us so that you can follow along. Thanks for watching.